welcome to Author Nation. Today is very special because we are meeting Melanie Gill, a member of the Author Nation team and ghostwriter extraordinaire for Nutritious Truth Publishing. I'm your host, Melody Ann. I'm here to guide you toward actionable insights and strategies that will help you succeed as an author. So visit authornation.online for fabulous resources just for you. Now, whether you're sipping your morning coffee or winding down after a long day, which is what I'm doing today, settle in and let me introduce our guest. Melanie Gill has more than 10 years of writing and ghostwriting experience and spent several years working in medical practice as a practice manager. Her time in the medical practice gave her the opportunity to converse with surgeons, biokineticists, and professionals in several other medical fields. So she is fascinated by the human body. Besides that, she is raising a medically complex son and frequently deals with medical referrals, reports, and research. In her own time, she can be found in the mountains or by the sea, something we have in common. And she's always looking for outdoor activities to enjoy. She loves literature and anything to do with books and language. Melanie currently lives in South Africa. Welcome, Melanie. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. And you, Melody?
Good. I think this is great we're doing it because sometimes people email you or email me and they think we're the same person because we're a Melody and a Melanie. So from now on, I'm going to refer people to this video and nope, two different people.
Check which is which.
Right. Sorry?
Check which person is which.
That's right. Check which person is which. Exactly. All right. I want to talk about your ghostwriting because you started ghostwriting before you started publishing your own books. So can you talk about that transition and what was it like to go from writing for others to seeing your own name on the book cover?
It was pretty incredible. Ghostwriting for someone else when you're writing fiction is simple. They give you the outline of what they want. You give them the word count and make sure that it's a good quality product and you hand it over. But switching to doing your own writing gets you to experience the editing process and going through your work with someone else's critique and advice and helping you to actually improve what you're doing. And then seeing your name on a book cover is pretty wild.
Yes. I agree, right? It's like, wow, it's funny. Sometimes I'll be looking at like our podcast statistics and I'm like, people are listening. It's like,
yes.
So I absolutely relate. It's so interesting, isn't it? Let's talk about nonfiction for a moment because a lot of nonfiction authors don't fully understand what ghostwriting entails. In fact, I've heard people say that the authors don't even know what's in the book. So can you break it down for us a little bit? How does ghostwriting differ from you writing your own book? And what role do you play in shaping a client's work?
Well, a ghostwriter will take your exact words. We're not going to add our own story or narrative into what you want to produce. So you understand that we go through a process of interviews, we transcribe what you say to us, and then we take your exact words and we simply turn it into a comprehensible, easy to read product that you want at the end of the day. We help you to put your story I think the easiest way to say it is a lot of people don't know how to take what they're experiencing in their mind or what they want to put into a book and actually put it into a readable format. So your ghostwriter is almost the little processor in between the two functions in your brain. We take what you're thinking and we put it into words that somebody else can appreciate and read.
I like that. That's actually really well said because when you're ghostwriting a book, it is not the ghostwriter's content, it is the author's content.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
as you said, we do interviews. Often people come with a half-written book, so we have, something to work with. We can look at their
Yes,
tone, their voice, right? And so
yes,
we match. Part of your job as a ghostwriter is to understand how that person writes, their tone, their voice, and to take what they've already done and research they give you and interviews, and then kind of put all of that together and package it nicely. Does that make sense?
it does. Your ghostwriter has to be a bit of a chameleon to adapt the tone that they're writing in to how you would present your book, because you don't want to go and do a book reading of a product that you've had ghostwritten and it does not sound like you. It's not, you want it to be an organic process.
I
And I
agree.
know I have usually 8 to 10 hours of interview or audio footage or audio that I get to transcribe and then turn into your ghostwriting project. So by the end of a project, you almost feel like you know somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you're
Yeah.
writing a memoir, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Brilliant. So a lot of people I've heard say, well, why not just write your own book? So what are some common reasons people come to ghostwriters?
They don't have the time. A lot of professionals who want to write their own memoirs are very driven in their own careers, or they have families to look after, and they simply do not have the hours to put into a writing project. Because let's be honest, you're a writer too. You understand how much time goes into each and every piece of writing that you do. It's time consuming. And then the biggest reason that I've found is people saying, I don't know how to convert what I'm saying or what I'm thinking into a written book.
Yeah, that's accessible, right? Easy to
Yes,
read,
that's
and yeah.
accessible, easy to read, and will possibly sell well.
Yeah, exactly. Are there
Yes.
any misconceptions about ghostwriting that you'd like to clear up?
As the author or the person who is having the project ghostwritten, you still have to put in a lot of work.
Hmm.
You are going to have to give us the information. We cannot magically siphon it out of your brain.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to give us chunks of written work that you've put together. We're going to be asking you a lot of questions, possibly quite personal. And you're going to have to put aside, in the very least, the time for the interviews. So a lot of people think, oh, I want something ghostwritten. There it is. I have to do nothing now. Everything gets done for me. So that's a
Yeah.
big misconception people have.
Yeah, and good to clear that up, because it's not, we don't, magically pull information out of people's brains. It needs to be conveyed
No.
in some way, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Now, I know that, I know, we often work under strict NDAs. Uh,
Yes.
so we can't talk about specifics, but can you share some of the most interesting challenges, or maybe rewarding moments, or your favorite, kind of genre to work in as a
Mm.
ghostwriter?
I love working with people in their memoirs. And one that stands out really particularly was a project that I helped to work on for a person who was experiencing haunting and paranormal activity. And it was really interesting to write that project, but it kind of gave me the creeps, and I did not want to work late at night.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my. All right, let's talk a little bit about your role at Author Nation. So we have two companies. We have Nutritious Truth Publishing. That is where we work with medical professionals taking their vast amount of information, complex knowledge, and translating that into an accessible, engaging, and impactful book. And then there's Author Nation. And at Author Nation, you manage all the digital media and guest relations for this podcast and other projects. So, how has working behind the scenes in a writing focused community influenced your work as a writer, or inspired you, or whatnot?
It has made me pick up a pen and actually sit down and feel creative again for the first time in almost 7 years. So it's been a really amazing experience, and it's also been a huge learning experience because I've gone from not working with a lot of technical programs and software to now working in several, and I've been studying. It's been an amazing experience. It's fun. I love the guests that we work with. So yeah, I love it.
Oh, good. And you do SEO writing as well for Author Nation.
Yes.
Yeah. So
SEO
that,
has been, yeah, very cool.
yeah, and that's not something you do in a book necessarily. So that's been something new for you.
Oh, it has, yes. It's been an interesting learning experience.
Yeah, exactly. So you just talked about, feeling creative again.
Mm,
And you haven't published recently. So
mm.
are you getting back into writing for yourself as well?
I am, yes. It's taken a long time, but I have plans for 2025 and it's going to be good.
Nice. So um I know that, I know as a writer and an editor, I do a lot of reading and writing and editing for other people, and my own projects can get easily lost in that. Um,
Yes.
so I'm curious, how, what's inspired this back to writing bit, and what do are you willing to give us any hints on what you're working on, and how are you going to fit it in, because you also have two kids?
Yes. The two kids go to school in the morning, so I have a couple of hours to myself. And as for inspiration, our writing and community that we host with Author Nation has been really great. Um, and then I really love, there's a South African author called Wilbur Smith. And I've been listening to an audiobook of, I guess it's kind of his biography, but called On Leopard Rock. And he speaks about his writing process in a very personal way, and he makes it come to life. And doing things like that, listening to that, reading his books again, it's inspiring, and it makes me want to get back on the writing side of my own screen.
I love that. So you're going to have to give us a link to at least one of his books so that we can put it in the show notes as well.
I will.
And And for everyone listening, connect with Melanie on LinkedIn. I've put the LinkedIn in front of you, but you will also find it in the show notes as well. So don't forget to connect with Melanie as on LinkedIn as well. All right. So for nonfiction authors listening right now, or people who want to be nonfiction authors listening right now, how do they know ghostwriting is the right thing for them?
If you find yourself in a situation where you feel that the world out there could benefit from the knowledge you have, whether it is a memoir or an instruction manual or guidance in business principles, anything that you feel you are holding on to and you want to share with the world, but you are stuck and you don't have time, or you feel that you don't have the skills, you could reach out to a writing coach or look at the resources on Author Nation, or you could find a ghostwriter to help you, because ghostwriting is not going to steal the attention that you get away from you. It gives you everything and it helps you. It's a tool that you use as an author.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
And there are some famous authors who started out writing their books and then hired ghostwriters to help them produce more and more books per year. No names will
Yeah.
be mentioned. Um,
No.
so besides experience, what should people look for when hiring a ghostwriter?
Please look at some of the work they've done, because the market these days with websites such as Fiverr and Freelancer is flooded with people who, I actually hate saying this, but there are a lot of people out there who don't have the necessary skills or experience or are a first language speaker of the language that you want your book written in. And unless you are a first language speaker of, for example, English, or in my case, Afrikaans, you cannot write in that language. You are going to make mistakes. And you don't want to publish a book that is full of mistakes. You are going to have poor sales. Your reputation is going to suffer. It's not a good way to start.
I agree. And so you're a native speaker. Are you a native speaker in English and Afrikaans? Or are you a native
Yes,
speaker in English and fluent in Afrikaans? Can you explain that a little bit to me?
I am Afrikaans. I'm a native speaker, completely fluent, reading, writing, and speaking Afrikaans. And my grandmother raised me, so she made sure that we spent one day speaking English and one day speaking Afrikaans. And she focused very heavily on making sure that I was fully bilingual.
That's amazing. I I love that. So I just want to wrap up here with um, what's the best first step in working with you?
The best first step is to sit down and think about the project that you want to write. You cannot come to a ghostwriter and say, this is the book I want to write, and expect content to come out of nowhere. So you do need to sit down and at least have an outline and notes and a spec of what you want so that I have an idea of how to help you.
I love that.
So
Thank you.
that's going to be the first step.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Where can people find you?
LinkedIn is where I am most active. I suck at social media in general, where my own stuff is concerned. I don't like putting my personal life out there.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn is best, or I can put my email address. We can include my email address in the show notes, which is also the easiest way to reach me. But yeah, I'm always on LinkedIn.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Mel. It's actually been great working with you. We've been working together for a little while now, and I just want to mention to everyone about when Mel is talking about hiring ghostwriters. You see ghostwriters for pennies, and it's so inexpensive, and you think, yes, I can do this. What
No.
happens is Melanie and I often see you later, right? Sometimes we work with people who've had that experience and now they're looking for a rewrite because it's riddled with mistakes or whatnot. So I encourage you, even if you just decide not to work with us, just get in touch and make sure the people you are working with will produce a high quality book for you, because that's going to matter for your reputation. Any final words, Mel?
On that same topic, as far as we will see you later is concerned, don't be the person who tries to cut your hair at home and then has to go and pay a salon a fortune to fix the problem.
Good analogy.
That's the perfect way to think of it.
Yeah, good analogy. There's a little side note, but my every child cuts their own hair once, and my oldest daughter cut her own hair, and she had this huge chunk out of it, and so I took her to the hairdresser. And she sat in the chair, and the hairdresser kind of looked at it. My daughter looked at her and said, "Cut it longer, please."
Yes, because it's always easy to do that.
Yeah, so you don't want to have to go for a fix that feels impossible. So
Yes.
work with a high quality ghostwriter. All right.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, Mel. I really appreciate your time today.
It's been awesome. Thank you.
Good. And thank you for joining us on Author Nation Interviews. We hope this conversation has provided you with some valuable insights and maybe some inspiration to start working on your own nonfiction book. Don't forget to visit authornation.online to unlock a wealth of resources designed to support your growth as a successful nonfiction author. And you know someone who needs to hear this. So send this over to them. And of course, your feedback, your comments, your reviews, your love, all of this helps us continue to bring high quality episodes to you. So participate, comment, give us feedback. We love hearing from you. Keep writing, keep creating, and continue sharing your unique stories with the world.